Father, please forgive me for these gains that the ERS is about to receive. Welcome back to another installment of my journey to 500 wheel horsepower in my 2016 Focus RS. This is the second video of the series. For those of you stopping by, expecting to see the beginning phases of the modifications of pulling out the engine and all that stuff, that's still to come. Today, I wanted to go ahead and finalize from the last video the things that I decided to order and talk about the total cost. So in the description you can see that 500 wheel horsepower and what was my total cost. That's what we're going to go over today. I am going to put up some snips of some spreadsheets and things that I made. This video is going to consist of the choices I made across 6 different websites, well-known websites, well-known companies, of the items that I think are necessary to make 550 wheel horsepower consistently, safely on a daily driven Focus RS. For those of you that have been coming by the channel and haven't subscribed, please do so. I got some really good content coming up. I'm going to pick up all these parts that we're about to discuss and the engine and all that in the beginning of April, and the swap is going to start on April 9th. April 9th, I'm going to start wrenching on this thing, obviously editing videos and all that stuff. So expect those videos to come up. It's going to be a step-by-step. I have a lot of papers here. This is the entire shop manual for the 2.3 EcoBoost, starting with, the first one here is the fuel system pressure release. We're going to start with that, and then we're going to go on down the line on pulling out this engine. You're going to get your Focus RS to 500 wheel horsepower and how much it's going to cost. I've got it broken down right here. These are the parts that I think you need. That I've talked to a lot of different builders and stuff on what is exactly needed to give you 500 wheel horsepower. So now, without further ado, let's go over what is currently on the Focus RS. First thing I did is I put a catless downpipe by CPE. Why did I choose CPE at the time? Whenever I first got the car back in 2016, wasn't a lot of options available, but I knew I wanted to go catless, so I got the CPE downpipe from CJ Pony Parts. Next, I went right into the tuning. After I got that downpipe, I was like, okay, it's time to start tuning this thing. I got with Adam at Tune Plus, and he said, here's a couple of things that you need to do to accommodate a safe tune. So I got the NGK step colder spark plugs. I got the K&N air filter. That's coming up on your screen here. I got the Velocitech big mouth intake, ram air intake. I got the Grimspeed exhaust simulator or exhaust override switch, whatever you want to call it. Basically, it's that little flap in the stock exhaust. You open it up, you put this thing in there, it stays open because, yes, I'm still on stock exhaust. If you check my other videos, I have a video of the stock sound. I have a video of stock with the catless downpipe, and then I have of stock exhaust, catless downpipe, and muffler delete, which is what I'm currently running now. It sounds great. It's loud. It's aggressive. It's awesome. Finally, I got the Cobb access port with the lifetime tune from Tune Plus. I get 93 octane and E30 tunes from him on that. And then one of the things that I didn't plan to get but I got later on was the TurboSmart blow-off valve with the boost reference adapter. Blow-off valve, obviously, because the stock one on there doesn't handle the kind of PSI that I'm pushing now. Right now I'm topping out about 28 PSI. And then the boost reference adapter was very important because at different throttle positions I was getting a lot of turbo flutter or inconsistent boost. And that was essentially corrected through some emails and stuff back from Adam at Tune Plus. He said, you need to get this boost reference adapter. I put it on, no issues. So that right there is a grand total of $2,034. That is what I have on the car as far as performance-wise. I have some other stuff on the car, but performance-wise, that is what I have. Now, let's get into the bread and butter here. These are the items that I believe that I need to make 550 wheel horsepower. And coming up on your screen, you're going to see the different options from the different websites and why I chose the ones I did. Right off the get-go, 2.0 short block build. Tune Plus does not offer a short block. They do have a Type A, B, and C long blocks. I figured the Type B would be what I would need for the horsepower and my intention of the car. That's $8,400, and that is without, you know, all these other things that I'm about to talk about: the turbo upgrade, auxiliary fuel, fuel pump, catch cans, so on and so forth. That's $8,400 already out the gate, but it is a long block, so it comes with their own head and their own springs and valves and all that stuff. So awesome build. I wish I could afford it. I just couldn't. So that left me with two options. I had Panda Motorworks with a 2.0 short block, and then Full Blown Motorsports also makes a 2.0 block. You can see right here the price differential. Panda Motorworks $3,900, and Full Blown a little over $5,000. I went with Panda for a couple of different reasons. One, they have a channel and they're showing that their STs and their RSs are pushing consistent horsepower. They have the rolling track sheets to prove it, so I like that. Two, they're from St. Louis, Missouri. I'm from St. Louis, Missouri, so I'll support them on that as well. So I went with that block there. And then you go for a turbo upgrade. So you have a couple options here. You can go with just a monster turbo upgrade, but is it gonna? Then you're gonna have to find out where you're gonna mount it and how you're gonna run all that stuff. I wanted to negate that. Wanted to make it easy and just put in a factory replacement turbo where it's gonna go in factory. So CPE, the Precision Turbo, seems to be the way to go on all these websites. You can see here everybody offers them except for all-wheel drive mods. I went with Panda Motorworks because that's where I got my build from. So you can see here $27.95. That does include some of the pricing for the tune as well that we'll go over later on. Now you have to go into auxiliary fuel. All these auxiliary fuel options, they come with the Radium Engineering port intake, probably with a couple different fuel injectors and different things of their choice, but essentially they all accomplish the same goal. This one, Panda Motorworks, happens to be the least expensive, and reciprocity to stay with Panda Motorworks. But you can see here the other pricings if you are interested in looking in what Tune Plus and Stratified and Full Blown offers as well. Moving on down to the clutch. The clutch is a big area of conflict with the RS. Everybody wants that extreme twin disc ceramic or extreme twin disc organic. After my research, man, I saw a lot of people that actually had the twin disc and then they ended up going back down to a single disc through Clutch Masters or ACT. I made some phone calls, obviously with Panda, the people that are doing my build for me, and I went with the 6-wing ACT clutch. System's about $1,300. You can see it's a little more expensive than the Clutch Masters, definitely cheaper than the Extreme. Just take a look on the screen here of what everybody offers here. Then you have to go into the front mount intercooler. Have to have an intercooler. I should have had one, let's be honest, while I had it tuned, but the oversized intercooler on the RS has been doing me just fine. But now that I'm turning up the boost on a built engine, I need to have a new front mount. So ETS seems to be the way to go. It's got a good price tag on it. Pretty much everybody sells it for the same price, but I actually went down to the Steam Speed, which is offered through Panda Motorworks, and it's a little bit cheaper than the ETS. One of the things that I did like about it is that the couplings on both ends are cast. So instead of it being welded on the ends of the air cooler itself, they're cast. So hopefully, if you have experience with front mount intercooler, sometimes you develop some rust and some things like that on where those welds are at. This should eliminate that. I hope it does. It's a little bit cheaper. We'll see if I end up paying the penalty for going with the cheaper front mount intercooler. Moving on along, oil catch can. It's a must. You have to have it for a built engine because the tolerance on the rings and things like that does allow a little more flow, and just because of by design and the nature of those engines, you need to have one. I don't think I need a dual catch can system. I can install that later if I feel like I need to. You guys let me know what you think. I went with just up on the PCV area so I can keep my injection in my valves clean. So I think I'm going to catch most of it there. You can see the pricings here of the oil catch can. They're all pretty comparative. I went with Panda Motorworks. Rear motor mount, a lot of different options here. Cobb, CPE, Torque, Boomba. Discussing that with people who have them and talking about the harshness and how stout they are and this and that, and this is good for this is good for that. It turns out that collectively CPE was the best one to go with, and it's decently priced. I got that from Panda Motorworks for just under $250. Moving on down, PCV baffle plate is a must. You have to have it if you're going to be boosting these engines up. So I got the PCV baffle plate. Tune Plus offers this the cheapest, but I stuck with Panda. I've already got, I already had a shopping cart full from Panda, so I got it from them. Spent a few extra bucks on it. And then finally, one of the items that I initially did not have on here and I was not anticipating to spend the money on was the fuel surge tank with the pump. Not necessarily needed on the 93 octane from what I understand, but after talking to Chris at Panda, and I told him that, on the days that I want to go down to the track or that I really want to put down the horsepower, I want to go a full E85. He said that what he is noticing is that the E85 is the stock pump on the vehicle is not sufficient. It's drying up. It's gasping for air or fuel, if you will, and guys are having some engine issues with that. So I said, man, well, I don't want that. I do want to try to achieve 550 wheel horsepower on the 85. Tell me what I need to do. He said you need to get this Radium Engineering set up and whatever pump that I'm going to get. I'll give you guys some more information on that later. Tune Plus also offers these pumps after doing some more research. Slightly cheaper, but I stuck with Panda Motorworks. All right. So now that we've talked about the items that I believe are necessary to make 550 wheel horsepower in the application that I want, let's go over my final cost so we can talk about, anybody who has a Focus RS and they're interested in doing this, they know exactly what they're looking at as far as cost. So with the stuff that I currently have installed, catless downpipe, Kohler spark, blow-off valve, boost reference adapter, air filter, Cobb access port with lifetime tunes, Velocitech intake, and the Speed exhaust simulator or eliminator, whatever you want to call it. Grand total $2,034. Now the items that I believe are necessary to make this: the 2.0 build from Panda, $3,900. The Precision Turbo, $2,800. That's with some tuning in there. Auxiliary fuel, $1,089. Clutch, $1,256. Front mount intercooler, $500. Oil catch can, $240. Rear motor mount, $250. PCV baffle plate, $129. Fuel surge tank with pump, $1,064. The Panda tune, so the big turbo tune, the auxiliary fuel tune, $505. And then they also did do a modification on that Precision Turbo, which a lot of people don't understand. If you're going to go down to the 2.0 block, there's a modification that needs to be done to the Precision Turbo, $150. I'll go over that in detail in another video whenever I go pick up all this stuff from Panda. Grand total, $11,867. You add that to what I currently have installed on the car, it's looking like $13,901, and I will hopefully make 550 wheel horsepower. There will be a couple other things added on to this. So I will have to get a gasket and seal and washers and rings and a couple different things set for a rebuild whenever I take the engine apart and put it back together. There's some items you can't reuse, and you got to make sure you get that in. So I'll let you know what that total cost is once I go through this manual here and I find out exactly what I need. Also, there's going to be some specialty tools that I have to purchase. One, hands down, you have to get the timing alignment tool, the timing top dead center pin, and you have to. You can't do it without it. So I got to get that. Find that for about $100. And there's a couple other tools as I'm going through this manual that I'm looking that I might want to get. I'd rather spend the money rather than messing something up on a seal or something like that. So I will augment this video and tell you what those final were. Plus, gasket maker and lubrication and whatever the manual specifies needs to be utilized in different areas of the assembly. I will put on there of what I purchased and what that total was. So If you add my price, $36,000, that's what I got the car for. I did not pay a dealership up cost on that vehicle, and I got it for $36,000. Round this up to $14,000. That's a $50,000 car that will hopefully, $50,000 all-wheel drive car that will hopefully put 550 wheel horsepower to the ground. I think that's a pretty good deal, and that's what I'm going for. And again, if you're new to this channel, subscribe. The stuff is coming up. Leave some comments down below. Tell me if you think I'm missing anything. Tell me what you've heard. Tell me what you've experienced. And for those guys that have been coming to this channel and allow me to entertain you, but you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe. Give me your input. There's a good RS community out there. Let's all get together on this and help me make 550 wheel horsepower. And again, the step-by-step procedure, I hope, will help people in the future that get an RS and want to do the same thing. You are literally going to have a video that's going to break it down exactly for you, what to buy, how to do it, and hopefully in the end, I got a rolling track paper that says 550 to the wheels. Thanks for stopping by, guys. I'll see you guys here in a week or so, and be prepared for this this swap going down here in a couple of weeks. I'm super stoked about it. I wish I could fast forward in time and just get it done, but I got to get some things done before then. Y'all have a good day. Peace.